We'd like to take a minute to thank this week's sponsor, Local Menace Apparel. Local Menace is a Dallas, Texas-based apparel brand that is hell-bent on destroying your wardrobe and has been providing the world with bad fashion since 2017. From shirts to hats to some dope-ass bottle openers. Check them out at localmenace.com for all your anti-fashion needs. Don't forget to sign up for their Bad Fashion Brigade mailing list. Stay updated on new merch, weekly sales, and exclusive discounts. Because they got new merch coming out all the time with brand new shirt drops every month. Make sure to use our code POPPUNK at checkout for 25% off your order. Thanks so much. Now let's get back to the show.
Welcome to another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go, a podcast about life in the music industry. And today we had our dear friend, Adam Lohrbach he's been in so many things. He's been in Homegrown, New Year's Day, and a brand new project, which you'll learn about more in the episode. But before we get into the episode, Pat.
Yo.
Adam,
dude,
blew my mind, dude.
Yeah, what a rad dude. Like, my favorite thing about this podcast is going into it not knowing somebody yet and coming out feeling like, are we friends now?
Yeah.
And I feel like we're friends now.
Like as if we've been friends for a while. Like he's so open and honest and vulnerable. Like, yeah. I mean, we try to give you guys the best kind of podcast we can, and we're learning and we're figuring out what you guys like. We're figuring out what we like, what the podcast is. But in that, like, it's become its own thing. And when people feel comfortable enough to just open up on like hard questions, like
I love that.
I want more of that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I want more of that. Like, this is a community. This is a family. What we're trying to do here is all about a community and family. And so when someone like Adam comes on in and like it's family from the get-go, oh, dude, like this episode could be called Vin Diesel. That's how family this feels.
Ooh. I like that. Well, shit, I don't think we can go anywhere else other than let's just get into the
You got this.
Into the episode.
Welcome back to another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go, a podcast about life in the music industry. And today we have Adam Lohrbach. He's a founding member of the band Homegrown, New Year's Day, and now Radical. Adam, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here, man. It's already been pre-show. It's already been a good time, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. This was also the first time we've ever done like an actual like an intro that sounds like it's about to be on the radio. So this is new for both of us. And I'm glad to be here, Pat. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you here, Bear. And Adam, it's awesome to have you here.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Good to be here.
So Adam, tell us, before we get into the podcast, tell us just a little bit about yourself. There we go. Caught him off guard already. This is going to be a great episode.
Well,
would you look at the time?
Gosh, I'm a husband. Been married for 17 years now. I've got 3 boys. Got a new punk rock project called Radical, which I'm loving. Actually recruited. You said New Year's Day. A couple of the guys from New Year's Day are in the band, and
cool.
Been kind of getting back into the whole punk rock thing a little bit, just sort of enjoying it from a new perspective. Like, I think I can actually fully enjoy it now. Whereas back in the day, man, you're just living in the moment. You're just going, now I'm like, oh man, that's really special.
I saw this interesting TikTok video that like made me like genuinely think. And it was he was like, he said, I'm changing my career goal. He said, I want to do what I do so well that when I find something I love, I can do it for free. And I was like, wait a minute, what? He's like, yeah, not everything has to be monetized. And the fact that you find something that you love and you want to be a part of it helps put that spark back into what you're doing. So even though his job was like an audio engineer, he's like, I want to help bands that I like genuinely enjoy. I just want to be a part of. And I was like, holy shit, that's a great idea. That's
Did you get-
awesome.
It is. You know what? That's like clarifying goals
Yeah.
is so powerful, because otherwise you're gonna find yourself chasing fame. Like you're gonna hit one level, right? You're gonna be like, I got this many subscribers, I got this many followers, fans, merch sales, whatever. I played this show, and as soon as you do that, you're like, well, that's not enough. Okay, what are they doing? Oh, they're doing more. Okay, I got it. And man, you just keep climbing, and you'll never be happy unless you like clarify, like you said, like, hey man, I enjoy being with people, I enjoy being creative, and just let that be the win. And yeah, I mean, it's life-changing. Yeah, for sure.
And like I had a conversation with my older brother the other day. He's in a metalcore band that's doing pretty well for themselves, and I just like, we were talking, he was telling me stories about like the people that like he'll meet on the road, and just all these people that just think they're like hot shit, right? And I was listening, and I was like, there are really 3 tiers to like trying to become successful into being successful. There's the first level tier where like you're so close to where you started that you still have that humility, that, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm touring with this band or whatever. And then there's the step above that where it feels like, yeah, I've been touring with these bands all the time. Like I'm starting to get a little complacent. Like people owe me this. Like I deserve a crowd. I deserve this. And then like the step above that, where it's the super successful people who go back to being the most humble people there are, who will just school these people with this mentality of you deserve and you own the world. They're like Eric Clapton. He was asked, what is it like to be the greatest guitar player in the world? And he was like, I don't know. You'll have to ask my friend Phil Keaggy, right? Like just like little shit like that. Yeah, just gone. But like you ask somebody on the mid tiers, what I'll call it, and it's like, well, I mean, like, it's just practice. And it's like, there's this idea of where we want to be. And then there's this super successful goal that like bypasses the entire, like being a dick, just like being a dick. Cause like if you look at somebody, you're like, wow, they're really cool. That guy in that band is really cool. That guy doesn't think he's cool. That's what makes him cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Like if you think you're cool, you're not cool. Like,
hey, that's why everyone loves Dave Grohl.
Oh,
exactly.
He's the coolest.
He's the coolest. I mean, like, yeah, he's just got such a humble attitude. He takes risks. He always lifts up other artists. He brings kids on stage. I mean, he doesn't give a rip. He's just having a good time, and you know, and you love it, right? You love it.
Exactly.
Speaking of taking risks, and Dave Grohl, man, that horror movie he made was incredible. I don't care what anybody says.
I didn't see it, so I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. What? So you don't know about this, Bear? What? Okay. So Dave Grohl the Foo Fighters just came out on Thursday. It's called Studio 666. It is a Foo Fighters horror movie. It's, if you like horror movies at all, it's kind of like in the same kind of style as the Evil Dead and Army of Darkness movies, where it's really funny, really gory, but like, like not, but overly bloody and kind of unrealistic gore.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. It, like, if you're a Foo Fighters
where can
fan,
I find this?
At your theater. It's in the theater.
What? Yeah. Okay, I am too far disconnected from everything. Clearly,
so, like, just pop on like after when you're done with your second podcast, hop on YouTube and look up the trailer for Studio 666. Okay. It is really funny.
Okay, like, I'm gonna do that too. I didn't know I had.
All right, today. But let's get back. Let's get back to the podcast. So, okay, Adam. Homegrown was formed in 1994. You released your first album, That's Business, in 1995, and the What's Happening EP the next year.
Yeah.
What was the SoCal pop punk scene like in those days, the mid to late 90s?
Oh man, back in those days it was very communal, I'll tell you that. I didn't realize how much it was until, kind of hindsight. But it was a lot of backyard parties. It was a lot of friends coming out to shows. You would have shows, you'd put together shows and people wouldn't know who's on the bill, but it was just the thing to do. So there's generally kind of always good turnouts, even if the bands weren't great. And I'd say on no, really, and everyone had a good time. That's the thing. Like everyone wasn't like, is the band good? Then I enjoyed it. It was more, there's loud, crazy music. That's the soundtrack to my good time right now. And everyone just goes nuts and has a good time and just waits for the next one. But again, that's before, I mean, it totally dates myself, right? But it's, you know, it's before the internet.
Like, I mean, technically I was born in 1994.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, enjoy that.
Leave, Bear.
Yeah.
Leave.
Yeah. Sorry, I gotta
go. I was not. So I was definitely born in the early 80s.
I graduated in 93. So there you go. But yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. There's like a lot of support. And I'd say, you know, today everything's got to be so put together. And I get it because everyone has access to home studios.
Right.
We've, you know, live albums aren't really live anymore. They're all kind of overdubbed and stuff like that. So everyone has the expectation of perfect. But back then, man, I mean, our early days of homegrown, I mean, we weren't that good, but we had a lot of fun. And people could feel that, you know. And it's,
I was gonna say, like, that's all it
that's what it was.
All that really matters,
right?
Like, I know that, again, that's a big cliche. Like, oh yeah, you sound good, do your best, but like, at the end of the day, if people can tell you're having fun, that bleeds off the stage, like entirely. Then they're having a good. You are now, like you said, the soundtrack to their good time. Yeah, and that unlocks this like nostalgic memory. Like that is what they go to when, like, you know, they're out of high school and they're like, man, remember the good old days? It's like that is what that was, and they want that. So it doesn't even matter if you were, you know, conventionally quote unquote good or not. It just mattered that you were having fun.
Yeah, right. And I don't want to say it too. It's like, again, like hindsight, you realize, like, you evaluate some things. Like back in the homegrown days, we were very like on the spot. So we had all kinds of humor, like we were making fun of each other all the time. It was just like, it was constant banter. Like we didn't even know what was going to happen. And I think that's what kind of made it, I think, you know, in retrospect, like what made those shows so special is like, we didn't even know it was going to happen. So everyone is kind of living in the tip of this moment. Like we were all present. It wasn't like just all planned and, you know, next click track to the next click track type thing. You know, it's just like, we don't know what's going to happen. We might go on some weird tangent. We might do some jam out. We might call out someone in the, you know, in the crowd and make fun of it. It was just so in the moment that everyone is like, well, I want to be there because I want to be in that moment, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, my camera is going so out of focus for all the YouTube viewers out there. This is what it looks like when you open your eyes in underwater. That is
actually, you know, like. You look like an Instagram skincare commercial.
I'll take it.
You know, they do those blurred out pictures where like, look, you can look like this, and it's just like clearly been totally photoshopped.
I can't, like, it
doesn't.
Where are you?
It's like you get your maybe put your face really close to it.
Right, just hey. maybe if it'll like focus on my finger, like until it reaches.
It is so unhappy with whatever you're trying to accomplish over there right now.
Yeah.
But I feel like the late 90s was when I pretty much was starting to get into pop punk as well. Like, and with that, like I remember hearing Suffer on a compilation album.
Cool.
And that's how I actually learned about you guys. And I immediately went to I think Sam Goody.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
And I bought the Actor Age album the next day and I listened to that thing on repeat. I actually still have it. I went to try and go find it and I still have the CD, but not the case. I think that has not survived my many moves since then.
Oh, nice, man. If I might have an extra one for you after this, give me your address and I can see maybe I can send you one out. I might have one.
That's
and
tight.
In return, we'll send you a cookie.
Oh.
That's fair. Okay.
I'll send you whatever. But so with that though, Actor Age reached number 24 on the Billboard Heat Seekers charts. So when you were writing and recording that record, did you guys ever think that it would reach so many people, let alone getting on the Billboard charts?
Oh no, we were so along for the ride. we were kind of oblivious to it. I know we'd gotten some management. We got signed to Outpost Recordings, which is like a subsidiary of Geffen, and it all got bought out. And then kind of in the merger, we got lost. You know, we had a couple years that was just like the dark years where we just had to tour without any support. And, you know, but in that time we're getting signed, and at that time there's other artists, right? Like Blink was getting signed, and Unwritten Law, and so, you know, there's kind of like the San Diego band, some of the Orange County, Real Big Fish, all this, some of the labels, some of the bigger ones were seeing what was happening and sort of the groundswell and the live shows. They're coming out going, okay, let's pick up on this. And I think a lot of them said, hey, we can kind of market this and make this hit right now. And so we're just kind of sort of caught up in that. You know, people are interested. Hey, we'll give you a bunch of money to get, you know, really great recording, like access to things we never had access to. And we weren't like strategic and thinking Billboard. We're just like, cool, all right, a better sounding record and some tour support. Yeah, never had that. So let's go for it, you know?
Yeah.
So
man, that's crazy. Yeah. But speaking about like joining in record labels and all that kind of stuff, after joining one of pop punk's most cherished record labels, Drive Through Records, you released Kings of Pop in 2002. So with that, how did the band change after that in regards to like the attention you garnered after the release compared to your other albums?
Well, let's see. I'd say we had some pretty good momentum on That's Business. And then when Act Your Age came out, right, kind of before it came out, there was the merger with Interscope, all that stuff. And so we got shelved. I mean, essentially it was like, we don't know what to do with your record. We're kind of assessing all the different bands that have sort of merged into the new conglomerate. And so we were kind of lost. We couldn't get out of contract. And so we just said, well, what are we going to do? Basically, what are we going to do? We have no support. And so we said, let's just do what we know how to do and what we've always done. Let's go tour.
Yeah.
So we toured for a year. Things are going great, you know, pretty well. And we had some good tours. You know, we had some like good bands we're touring with, like bigger bands and stuff. But then, you know, after like a year, once you go around the state a couple times, because we tour about 10 months out of the year. So we toured a lot. You know, you start losing a little bit of momentum. It's like people love you, but they're not going to go see you 3 times in a year.
Yeah.
Right.
And so at that point, you know, you start feeling like, man, what's next? And we finally got out of contract. And so honestly, Drive Through is like a breath of fresh air. It felt like a new start. They had a real pulse on, you know, the scene and not just trying to, you know, turn a quick buck or whatever. Like they were kind of on the cutting edge of what was happening. You know, they had the Dashboard EP and stuff. And yeah, they just had a good vibe. They had a good name. They came to all the shows. They sang at the side of the stage. And so yeah, we're happy to sign with them. I
helped think like foster that sense of community in your band for you.
Yeah, I think it was just at the right time. If anything, if it had come even like 4 or 5 months earlier, it'd have been better. But you know, it's kind of like what's next? You know, what's kind of our next step? And it was like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. You know.
Yeah.
So, and they were able to like, you know, give us a good enough like support to, you know, do a record like in a, you know, good studio with producer engineer Steve Evitz, which, you know, he did like the Saves the Day stuff.
Yeah.
He, you know, he had a really good like record of great records. So, you know, everything about it was it was a good deal. It
all just fell into place.
It all fell into place. Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that how it always works? Just somehow Palpatine returned. That's all.
Yeah. And then we got a record. We could go tour again and have a reason for people to come out, you know. So.
Right. And Kings of Pop was such a good record too.
Now here's I was gonna say, was Kings of Pop the record that was shelved?
Act Your Age was shelved.
Act Your Age. Okay.
Act Your Age, yeah. So it's like, and it was crazy as Act Your Age, like why it hit Billboard and stuff is because it started getting play like on K-Rock, which is like a big station in LA, which kind of sets the tone for a lot of other radio stations. And Surfer Girl got picked up. And so it started getting picked up and played and started spreading around. And we're like, you know, you go, is this really happening? Like,
yeah,
it's happening, you know, like whatever that thing is, it's happening to us. Well, and then as soon as they found out that the record was shelved and that there wasn't going to be any more support and all the different things happening, all the radio stations and stuff went, oh, and they just dropped it.
Which is such a bummer. Yeah. You know, like not only obviously because like that album is really great too. And like Surfer Girl is such a bop though. it's such a fun song.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
fun. It's fun. It's a
Now,
fun song.
here's a question that well, one, I'm genuinely curious about it and how it works.
Sure.
And I'm sure our listeners out there, who've been following along and trying to actually take the hints and hear what we ask and listen to the advice and do all that kind of stuff. When Drive Through Records, when you signed to them, were they able to buy out the contract or not the contract, the music from your previous record label?
No.
So you said Act Your Age was shelved. Is that still that? I mean, obviously it's out. So like, how did that like end up even coming out after it was shelved?
I mean, it still got released, so it still hit its release. It just didn't have support, so
just wasn't pushed.
Yeah, it got distribution and all that stuff, but back in the day, it was like, it was product placement, it was end caps, it was sending posters and promo, or not electronic, that was kind of a little later, but like press kits and
it
stuff
just
like that.
showed up without
It just
any
showed
of the
up,
promo.
and if you want to find it, you can find it. And a lot of people, I remember at the time, they'd come out to shows and they'd buy the record. So
moving that onto Drive Through Records, they were able to, I mean, obviously the other record label kept the music, kept the rights, all that kind of stuff. So with Drive Through, clean slate, everything clean slate. And then you just, that's gotta feel good. Like a nice,
it felt good.
That's awesome.
It did. Oh yeah, it did. That's why I said it was like a breath of fresh air for us. Felt like the right decision to make. Yeah.
Well, so we've talked about new homegrown, and I mean, honestly, that's where your roots come from, and it's really cool to get to dive deeper into that and to see where you started, especially to where you are now. But let's talk about New Year's Day for just a second.
Sure.
In 2005, you left Homegrown to join New Year's Day. What led you to leaving the band and starting something new?
I mean, there's quite a story in that gap, but yeah. Let's see, what's the short story? So kind of in the tail end of Homegrown, like before I left, I hit like a really low spot. My girlfriend at the time, I'd been with for 4 years, you're on the road a lot, you're gone all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So it means a lot to have some stability back at home. And when we broke up, I just went in a tailspin. I was like, man, I'm just grinding. I've been grinding for, 9 years. And I got pretty depressed. And I had faith in God when I was younger, and kind of just sort of, I just sort of left it. I was like, I just went on, did band things, stuff like that. And then kind of in my low spot, I just sort of, it sounds peculiar, but, started hearing God talk to me again. And I was like, okay, what's up? And honestly just felt like the call back to my faith is to say, like, here's the time. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to go back, or are you going to let it go?
Yeah.
Like, can you trust that I have something else for you? And I was like, oh crud, man, this is like my life, So
I think that's the hardest part too. And Pat is actually not of faith.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I can sympathize.
I love people.
Yeah, me too. It doesn't matter.
But like I know I can sympathize with what you were talking about with like hearing God. I am a huge Christian. I love me some Jesus. Always have, always will. And I remember hearing that calling on my heart, like, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. Do music. And then I remember just recently, I didn't have to, but my band came to a close, and it's something I had fought for so long. And situations in my life just kept hitting, and it hit some of my band members with just a lot of problems going on in our personal lives, loss and hurts and depression. And I just remember going you know what, God, if this is what you want for me, I'll keep it. But if you want to take it away, you'll just take it. And then he did, you know what I mean? And I was like, there's this little freedom in that, where I'm like, whew, I don't have to worry about that anymore. So on that note, with kind of going into a tailspin, I get it. I genuinely get it.
It just kind of opened my eyes to what was for me, what was important, and coming back to kind of my roots in faith and Christianity. And but it was not easy. And I'll tell you, probably one of the biggest thing that made it not easy is that those are my friends.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, you know, those are my friends. Like we grind it. It's like your family, you know, like,
Yeah.
like tour is amazing. Right. But tour is also, it's all the highs and lows. It's the ups and downs. It's the, I'm not talking to you for, you know, I mean, sometimes John, I mean, he'd admit this too. It's like, but we would go sometimes not talking to each other. I think our longest was like 6 months.
Wow.
We literally didn't say a word to one another. I can't even tell you why. I like, genuinely speaking, I'm not sure what would start it, but we get in a fuss or something and then we just wouldn't talk. And, you know, and then all of a sudden something would happen, blah, 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 you know, we'd share a drink or do whatever. And it's like, and then we start talking and things would come back online. But like, touring can be grueling, man. It's like,
Oh yeah.
you gotta be, I mean, it'll test you. I mean,
Yeah.
especially like a Warped Tour, right? Dude, if you
Oh,
can
yeah.
survive a Warped Tour in a van and chase a Warped Tour all across the country, then your band can make it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
It's
that's the kind of friendship and roots we had. So when I was leaving, it wasn't just like, I'm making this decision for myself. I was like, my decision was forcing a decision on them. And that was
That's
really,
hard.
really hard.
It comes with
That
an
was
extra
hard.
extra added weight.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard.
Yeah. So that, I mean, so I guess that's kind of the story in between. And so like, I was just kind of, you know, getting my life sort of back on track, you know, like kind of sort of ground myself again. And in that space is I have a friend, his name's Keith, kind of local guy, really great musician. And he was in New Year's Day in the early times.
Okay.
He introduced me to Ashley and it kind of said, hey, you know, there's this girl and, you know, she's awesome. She got this incredible voice and she's looking to write songs, you know, and sort of get involved. And so I met up with her, loved her energy. She was like super fun and had, you know, just a genuinely sweet person, had a killer voice. She was doing some like, she was actually working with Pete from Fall Out Boy a little bit. She's working with a singer from Motion City Soundtrack, doing some stuff. And I was kind of listening to what she's doing. I was like, let me write some, what do you want to write? You know, like what kind of style or whatever. You know, and she's, you know, their music has gotten pretty like dark. Her music's incredible. Like when it started out is kind of like poppy dark, I guess.
Yeah.
And that was kind of more my influence and Russell's and stuff like that. But she's always had that like fun, like dark streak. Like you're talking about the movie, the 666, whatever movie, like that's right up her alley. Like she, you know, she worked at, like she did Not Scary Farm and she'd be like, you know, the vampiress and she, you know, she's just in that world. And so I was like, yeah. And so New Year's Day was kind of like, I was doing like drywall. I was selling patio furniture. I was trying to like, what does a bass player do to like make ends meet after you're done with music? You do drywall. And, you know, that's true story, man. You try and pay the bills. And so I got involved with her to help sort of launch that career. It was never meant to be like, you know, I'm going to do New Year's Day long-term and make this. It was more like, hey, let me write some songs. Let me help sort of get this started because you got a ton of talent. Let me sort of help foster that, start that with you. And then I would sort of, you know, make my exit.
Yeah.
So, and that's what happened.
And that's kind of how like you end up finding yourself with New Year's Day. That's really cool. And again, back to the whole, it just happened. Somehow it happened.
It just happened. Yeah. So I think I did like one tour, like one US tour with them, and then that was it, you know?
Right. So,
but
wow. That's, I mean, still, that's really cool. But we also, that brings us to, I guess, to now, right? You have a new project called Radical. One of the big questions that we had was, since you had such a long break from doing music and performing music in those bands and coming back to the music scene, what has changed the most in your opinion? Like now that you are in front and center again, like in that way, what has changed the most?
I mean, without sounding too existential, I'd say my perspective and appreciation. Yeah.
Go into that just a little bit more. Just
sure.
Give me a little nugget.
Sure. Again, so this project was, I mean, I didn't know I was going to be doing this again, honestly.
Right.
This project was it was born of sort of like poetic musings of like, I had I got really depressed, like around like 40 and a half or so.
Sure.
I just hit a wall, man. I was just like, I was doing a lot of like using like a lot of self-awareness tools and things like that, kind of getting into like, who am I really and how have I been living my life, and like have my motives been as pure as I think, if that makes sense. Like I haven't been doing things for malicious intent, but like deep down inside, like how secure I am. Am I doing things because I love people? Am I doing things because I'm insecure? Am I a likable guy because I'm a likable guy, or is it because I'm afraid of conflict and I run from it at every turn? All these things, and it all came crashing down. I was like, oh crap, I'm not who I think I am, right? And I'm just figuring this out in my middle ages, and that was for me, like, it was crushing for me.
This is gonna be a clip for me, so I can like hear this on repeat. Just I'm gonna listen to that, because man, it's so important at any stage in your life to literally take a step back and check yourself. Like, am I doing this for the right reasons? And sometimes when you have to ask yourself that question, just asking it alone, making that realization, says that there's a good chance you're not.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like that ounce of doubt is because there's something probably true. Like, it's like when you get angry at somebody for telling the truth, you're not angry because they're like, because you're like mad. You're angry because they're right and you know it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't like what you said about me because it's fucking true. Like, and like,
here, listen, I'll get, this is a quick example of something like, right. It's like a journey of self-awareness, right? It's like, faith or no faith, self-awareness is going to be a really important thing for you. But like, there's a time when I was like working at church all the time. I was like, just so much, there's so many events and things, right? And so when I'd have a day off, I'd be hanging out with my wife and be like, hey, what's that? She's all, so what are you gonna do with that church? So I'm like, don't talk about church. And she's like, why? I'm like, because I just need a break. I just need a day like to chill, just like anyone. Like, don't talk about work. I want a day not thinking about work. I want a day. I want to free my mind, right? And I get like that triggered from just, she'd say something, and it'd send me that spot. And then it was like, okay. And then she's like, okay. And then she kind of learned, okay, I don't talk about that on our day off. We just enjoy our day off. And then I realized, I'm like, is that okay? Is that fair of me to expect that from her? And why am I so messed up on this? Okay. No, that's not fair. Why should I expect her to walk, eggshells around me because of that? What's wrong? Oh, shoot. I'm violating limitations that I should have on time, respectful boundaries with my family, right? Oh, shoot. I got to change. We should be able to have a conversation, and I should be totally cool with it. But I've violated boundaries of my own soul, my own emotional health, all that stuff. Okay, I got to change. So things like that, I mean, it's just like, I changed. And so, and anyhow, kind of full wraparound, it's like working through depression, and it was slow. It didn't come quick. Yeah. I just had to stay in the fight, and I started writing about it and stuff like that. And for whatever reason, everything I was writing felt like songs. And I was like, what does it sound like with music? And I immediately gravitated towards writing like homegrown style, whatever, like pop punk, indie rock.
Well, it's good because we needed it.
We needed it.
We needed it back.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Patrick. I appreciate that. Yeah. And so I was like, this makes such sense. And I was like, dude, this is helping me. Like, it was seriously healing me. And I was like, oh crap, how many other people are experiencing this?
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to do something with this. Like, this actually might help someone else. This might actually give them some language that they might need. Like, the poetry might hit them in some way where they can go, oh, that helps me identify something in my own life or whatever. And then all of a sudden I was like the what, right? You're talking about like, what's your goal? I was like, shoot, that's my goal.
That's your goal.
That's my goal. Like, that's my win. Like, if it can help someone, if someone can hear this, and if they just like good music, like pop punk, it's like, that's a win too, right? It doesn't have to be like heavy, emo, crazy, whatever, to like enjoy it. You can just enjoy music. but for me, like, I love the deep conversations about this stuff and like just being raw and real. Like I have those conversations at shows spontaneously, DMs all the time. And I love it. It just reminds me of why I did it.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. It
So-
helps, like you said before, it grounds you. It puts
Yeah.
you back into the place where you're like, this is why I'm doing it in the first place.
Yep.
And I know for like on a personal level, I lost that. I lost that quite a few times, like along my
Sure.
journey of like being a musician, and I'm stuck. We're not stuck. Like I'm, bandless now. I'm musicless. I don't do a whole lot other than like studio and writing. And
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for me. I'm waiting for God to be like, this is here it is now. This is
There's the next thing. Yeah.
Here's the next thing. And
Yeah.
then I'm waiting for somehow it happened.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm waiting for. Well,
Yeah,
all right. Well, we're
for
gonna
sure,
go to
man.
we're gonna go to a quick break, and we will be right back with Adam.
Oh, hey, Jeff. Oh, gosh, hey! Thanks so much for watching the video. I wanted to tell you really quick about a bunch of new merch we got in. We got these super cool sweatshirts. Got stuff on the back. We got these new hats in. Oh, man, they're so freaking warm and comfy. We even got these cool shirts. These shirts are cool. All proceeds go back into helping us be able to support up-and-coming bands so be able to do this full time. So everything is super helpful. We got these really cool bandanas too. Check them out. www.unsignedpoppunk.com. Link will be in the description below.
Welcome back. We are here with Adam Lohrbach of Homegrown, New Year's Day, and Radical, and who knows how many other projects he's been a part of.
We'll see.
Probably a
I
million.
think that's it.
I've got one more you don't know about. But that's okay.
What?
What?
Is it new or is it old?
It's older.
Okay.
Good luck finding it. You might be able to find it on MySpace. I'm not joking.
Okay. Well,
is it-
I'm gonna
is
look
it-
for it.
It's called Daylight West.
Now I don't have to look as hard.
There you go.
Bear's currently typing it up.
I wrote it's more like sort of rock pop. I wrote for
Okay.
a friend of mine, and it's pretty cool. Like I was like, what do you want to write about? He's like, I don't know. Let's write about your life. And so we'd sit down in an office and he'd just tell me about all the things happening in his life, like the hard stuff, whatever. And I just sit down with a pad and I would just write his life.
Daylight,
And-
one word.
Daylight West.
Is it one word? Daylight.
Yeah. Daylight,
Found
one
it.
word.
Found
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's not like pop punk or anything. It's like
That's okay.
it's like radio rock.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we will make sure that we link it in the description below
Okay,
on YouTube.
Nobody knows it. So honestly, you guys are the first to even know about it. So there
Hey,
you go.
that makes me feel really
Yeah.
special.
There you go.
That
I love that. Well, before we actually move on to our next segment, then we're going to ask the last question. It's the same question we ask all of our guests because we like to get what everybody's opinions are on it. So what is one thing that you know now that you wish you would have known when you were first starting out?
I wish I would have known to enjoy the journey. You know, be present to every moment and take it all in. You know, gone when I was in different states. If I was like where you're at, Minnesota, that I would have driven out, you know, to the mountains. I would have gone to the historical site. I would have just taken in as much as I could of the world.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
God, that makes me want to go back on tour
Yeah.
and appreciate it.
Let's just take
Yeah.
the show on the
Let's
road,
just
man.
take
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
okay.
do it live.
We'll do.
Oh.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Fuck it. Do it live. There you
Well,
go.
awesome. And like, it's so funny coming back from break because like we were hitting on these like really
Deep.
deep topics. Like you I think you had mentioned like the podcast kind of like covering everything, and it's like it's nice to just hear. It's nice to hear that and listening to you being able to explore so much more than just like homegrown. It's like we're not interviewing homegrown. We're interviewing Adam. Like I want to hear about Adam. Like talk to me about music. Yeah, that's great. This is a music podcast, and a lot of our listeners, we hope, take a lot of inspiration from the podcast and take a lot of ideas, because our goal is to get successful people, quote unquote, on the show and pick their brain. But at the same
man.
time,
Mhm.
we're all the same. We're all human. We all go through this kind of shit.
Yep.
So it's like this segment that I'm about to introduce is going to go so far away from that. So we're going to leave that right there.
We've covered the emotions. We've talked about feelings.
We have.
Okay.
We are going to go into our next segment, which is called the Obscure Questions segment.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, these ones are a little more catered to you and your touring experience, hopefully.
Okay.
Question number 1. If you could pick the worst movie in existence, in your opinion, what movie would it be, and is it fixable?
I'll tell you what it's called. It's called Failure to Launch, and it is the worst.
Is that with Matthew McConaughey?
I think it's like with Jennifer Aniston or something, like Failure to Launch.
I know which one that is.
I called it Failure to Watch because no joke. The true story. I think I was watching with my wife in the movie theater.
Yep, Matthew
and
McConaughey.
and the humor was so predictable, and I hate rom-coms anyhow. Like, they got to be really good rom-coms for me to like it. And I was watching it, and I was like, in my mind, I'm all, this is gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Oh, this is gonna happen. And literally, there's this scene where the guy's like climbing up a cliff, whatever. And I turned to my wife in the theater and I said, if something comes out of one of those holes and bites his hand, we are leaving the theater. And she kind of chuckled. Sure as rain, something comes out of a hole and bites a hand. And I look at her and I said, can we leave? And she's all, oh my gosh. And we left the movie theater and got our money back.
That's so funny. So
that was it.
It is Matthew McConaughey and Sarah Jessica Parker.
Sarah Jessica Parker. Okay, yeah.
That's all right. You didn't know who Don Cheadle was.
But it's okay. It's okay. That's so fair. Is it fixable?
Yeah. Could you fix the movie?
It's not fixable.
Okay.
No, it's just
no.
Cut it. Let's go.
It's done. It's done.
Matthew McConaughey has better works anyway. Who needs to watch it?
He does.
All right.
Interstellar. Like, that's all I gotta say.
I don't think I've seen Interstellar.
What? That hurt my throat just saying that. That's how upset I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Your mind needs to be blown in the same way mine was twice.
His almost came out as Australian. That shocked me.
Almost.
What?
So, Bear, I'm sure this doesn't surprise you a whole lot.
Nothing ever does.
But what I've been going through, like me and my wife have been watching a lot of Beavis and Butthead lately.
Oh no, yeah, big surprise.
Yeah, right. I know. Because I like really dumb humor. I was watching a lot of I was watching through all of Jackass before the new movie came. Like, that's, I like nostalgia, man. That's like, once again,
there's some gold there. There's some gold there.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been doing. We're watching Daria right now.
Oh, nice.
That's a good one too. That's a good one too.
We had a homegrown shirt, I remember, it was just a picture of Daria with homegrown underneath it.
Do you got any of those on you still?
I don't. As a matter of fact, when homegrown merch comes up on eBay or like the local places here, I buy it all.
That's tight.
Dude, I buy it all. Yep. I have all my searches set to tell me when something comes up and if something comes on. Like, I just bought, I never knew they existed. Our first record label was Liberation Records, which is a local one here in like Laguna Beach, California. And someone put up 2 demo tapes, and it's all just hand drawn like artwork from Liberation Records with a bunch of inappropriate things on it. And I was like, I didn't even know that existed. I'm like, buy. Got 'em.
That's awesome, dude. That's so cool.
I can't wait to get to that level of cool where I can buy my own stuff off.
I didn't even know it existed. I didn't even know it existed. That was so cool about it. I was like, oh my gosh.
Start putting alerts on my phone too, and we'll start bidding wars.
Dang it.
just like Adam's gonna see this, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy it.
I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah.
And then I'll just take a picture.
If I'm bidding against some username with any Patrick, any Tarnowski, you are going to be in big trouble.
I'll tell you right now, my eBay username is Bang Zoom Kaboom. If you see that, you just tell me, knock it off.
Yeah, I will.
Pat, he's gonna pray for you.
Yeah.
Because
All
you'll
right.
need saving.
Yeah.
What is your favorite fast food tour hack?
Ooh, fast food tour hack.
Or you
Well-
gotta have one.
I mean, here in the West Coast, we have, In-N-Out,
Right.
and
well,
you can
yeah.
get, yeah, exactly. But you can get your you can get the peppers. You can get them chopped and fried.
Oh,
You can get fried mustard, which I do.
okay.
Of course, you can get the fries animal style, so you get all the onions and stuff all over
Obviously.
the fries.
Obvious.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We've definitely had like an In-N-Out fight already on this
Yeah.
podcast
Oh,
at one
absolutely.
point in
Probably
time.
more than
Whereas
once.
me fighting with everybody else saying it's the best fast food you can get and to knock it off.
Oh yeah, it really is. It
It
is.
is.
You can't get tired of it.
I don't know,
You
man.
can't get tired of it.
I don't know,
But yeah, you can get most things fried.
Whataburger is pretty well. That's true. Whataburger is a pretty decent contender. But that's Texas down there.
Right?
though.
Adam, do you see what I got to put up with?
I was gonna say, next thing you're gonna tell me is that Marvel is actually good. It's like,
Oh.
sorry,
This has
sorry,
been another
sorry.
episode
I'm just kidding.
of the Where Did All My Friends Go podcast.
Ooh.
I'd like to not thank Adam for being here.
I keyed.
I keyed.
So that's a
But-
good hack. That's a good
But
hack.
no, that's fine. I totally understand where you're coming from, and on a personal level, I hate you. If you, I'm terrible. If you had to cut out one food I wrote this when I was hungry. Don't
Yes,
judge me.
it-
If you
it
had to
happened.
cut out one
I
food,
actually poked at him while he was making this. So
I had a pizza in the oven. I could smell it. I needed help. If you had to cut out one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
One food.
and I would say it has to be a
Oh.
food you like though, right?
Well,
That's
okay,
the food
yeah,
I
one
like?
that you eat regularly. How's that?
Well, because I could be like, well, tomatoes, because tomatoes suck. I could get rid of those right now. It impacts me in no way.
Do you like
I don't-
spaghetti?
I don't
think-
Pizza?
I think this is it. Spaghetti on pizza? Spaghetti
No,
pizza?
spaghetti or pizza?
Oh.
Because
That's it.
the pizza sauce is tomato.
I the only way I know how to. I'm not going to give
That's
up
different.
something that I like, that I enjoy. So
Well,
I
I feel
hold on. I rebuked the
Okay.
question, and
I
then
rebuke
and then I would get rid of black licorice, because I can eat pretty
Oh.
much anything, but I
but
can't. I don't like black licorice.
No, I'm gonna
I
side
do-
with Adam on this.
I
one.
like black
licorice is of
licorice.
the devil.
Nah. Yeah,
oh,
It
it's
is. It
delicious.
is.
it's like an unholy root. I don't know
It
what
is.
it is.
It is
It's
the
just
devil's
something-
taste. That's what
yeah,
that
it's-
is.
It's not candy. It's not candy.
No,
It's not.
It's not. It's.
Yeah. That's all.
That just.
My wife
Wait,
loves
hold-
it. I
wait,
don't
wait,
like it.
Hold up.
Uh,
Chef's kiss.
I like how there's just that little sound that's just getting
Yeah,
beat. It just,
so-
I can't. Whew.
Yeah.
All right. That was it. That was the obscure question.
Fair.
I'm gonna be blunt
Yeah.
about that. It's over.
yeah.
Okay. Oh,
We survived.
I
We
gotta
survived.
catch my breath a little bit
That
here.
was
That's
funny. That was
Um,
good. Pat, you
so-
stole that.
Thanks with the chef's kiss. So we do have one more segment here. This
Okay.
one's pretty quick. This is rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So you're just gonna speak from the heart and you're gonna shoot from the hip. Whatever comes to your mind, just answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
I agree. MTV or Fuse?
Fuse, because we got to go on it.
Nice. See, that's usually not a stumper for most people. So
Yeah.
I like to see it.
Yeah.
PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
That's my boy.
This is a tough one. Usually, is a sweatshirt a sweater?
No.
Agreed. I mean, you're right.
No.
Okay.
Sweater, buttons. Anyhow, go ahead.
Yeah.
Generally
I mean,
speaking,
Yeah,
or
or
unless
like
it's
an
like a
ugly
Cosby
Christmas
sweater,
sweater. Yeah.
pullover sweater.
a little bit. Yeah, but there's usually just something a little bit nerdy about a sweater, right? It can be like a good nerdy, but
Yeah.
it's something a little bit
Yeah.
nerdy.
Right.
Fluffy,
Yeah.
cozy, comfy.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah.
I mean, it's just a different fabric.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's like knitted, like
yes, that's
feels
what
like
it
it's
is.
knitted. That's a
Mhm.
sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom DeLonge or Matt Skiba?
Tom DeLonge, because come on, I'm OG, man.
Because come on.
Obviously,
But-
because obviously that's the
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
Guitar Hero or Rock Band?
Guitar Hero.
Last question.
Yeah.
Newfound Glory or Simple Plan?
I like all the guys in those bands, but I'm gonna go Newfound Glory.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I agree with the Newfound, and it's like because I'm Newfound and Bear is Simple Plan,
Simple Plan.
and it's okay because they're both great.
They're both
It's just
fantastic.
whatever your personal preference is.
And I
That's
was
right.
listening to Newfound just yesterday. So
There you go.
heck yeah.
Hey,
It's
I'm
wonderful.
impressed with Simple Plan, how they've been able to you know,
Stay
sort of-
relevant.
stay kind of use some of the new sounds, like
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
pop punk's been kind of infusing a lot of different things, which
Yeah.
sometimes I like and sometimes I hate.
Yeah.
But if it's done right, it's good. If it's not, it feels to like cashing in a little bit. But and then to Newfound's credit, I mean, those guys are just
Stayed Newfound the whole time.
to do that and still be friends and have a lot, you know, and move on through
Mhm.
life and be dads, all this crazy, you know, get married, and yet they still, you know, live in different states even and come together and make things work. I mean,
Yep.
pretty impressive.
Oh yeah. Almost
Impressive.
anytime Newfound comes through Minnesota, I go see him.
That's great, man. I love that.
They're
Good guys.
good
guys.
dudes.
Good dudes. yeah.
Hopefully, if any of them are listening, let's chat.
Yeah, man.
Or Simple Plan.
Well,
Anyone.
Adam,
Anyone.
you did it. You made it through the podcast.
I did.
This is
Thank you.
this is it. This was a blast. Thank you for being here. We got one more thing to ask of you.
Sure.
But first, in closing, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the first song released by Radical Radical,
Oh,
which was Misfit Toys.
yeah. Wow.
With that said, what does the future of music releases look like for Radical Radical?
Well, let's see. Well, this March 4th, 2022, I got a collab. I'm doing like a 80s. I love like synthwave, anything 80s. I was
Oh.
a child of the 80s.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, have you heard Laney?
No.
Oh,
Uh-uh.
You into 80s synthwave?
Yep.
Laney.
I'm just
Laney.
kind of getting into it and working with a friend and doing a collaboration, and so we're remixing stuff. We're starting a side project.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm probably gonna release a few singles this year,
Okay.
and
Oh, yeah.
still kind of do like, I got a show coming up in Vegas, doing some touring here kind of locally, kind of just getting back into that so I can get in front of people and just have fun and play.
Hell yeah.
But probably release a few singles, maybe an EP this year. And then I've already got like, I think like 16 songs already written. So there's no lack of music. It's just
Right
making
on.
making the time to do it. So
Heck yeah, dude.
yeah, got to, I did first time to announce this. I did a Starting Line cover for a compilation coming out, and I'm really happy with it. And I did a song called Playing Favorites, which is off of his acoustic EP. But
Yeah.
I reimagined the whole thing, like as I sort of thought maybe Kenny would do it and how I would mess with it. So
Playing Favorites is one of my favorite starting line tracks.
yeah.
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 So I'm
dude,
I'm stoked to check this out.
yeah, man. It's gonna be good. So I was gonna see if I could find it. I was
I
gonna
was
play
gonna say,
in the mic for you.
where will we be able to find that when it comes out?
I'm not sure. I can't remember all the information because the relationship is kind
That's
of
fine.
new and I'm figuring it out.
Sure.
But would it be super cheesy to actually play a little bit in the mic?
Do it.
Oh,
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
This should be our this should be our outro. Like I'm
I mean, it's
dead.
gonna be super like lo-fi, but
I don't even care.
okay.
This is good. Bear, if you're listening to this while editing it, this is the outro. Don't touch shit. Don't do it, you dumbass.
Uh,
All right, guys, this has
Ye-
been another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? A podcast about life in the music industry. Adam, thank you so much for being on the podcast. We love you. We'd love to have you back. We're
Yeah, we'd
super
love that.
excited about Radical.
Thanks,
And
man.
with that, you got it pulled up?
I got it pulled up, man.
With that,
I'm just putting it in a microphone.
there we go.
Let's do it.
It's gonna be
Low
perfect.
low expectations, man.
Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe. Thank you to those who already are. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, or anywhere else you stream your podcast. If you're in the position to help us grow, head over to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/unsignedpoppunk. Let us know in the comments below who you'd like to see on the show and what other content you'd like to see. Thanks so much.